Blade's rerun banner is about to release in Honkai Star Rail, so today I wanted to take a look at his banner, his kit, and his current state in the game to see if he's still going to be a worthwhile 5-star for players to pull for. So starting out with his banner here, he does have the exact same banner as Rerun, with the featured 4-stars being Xueyi, Tingyun, and March 7th. So just to go over them briefly, Xueyi I've already made a full video on, but she looks like she's going to be a very good quantum destruction character, as you know, kind of like either a sub DPS or DPS role, depending on how much damage she does end up being able to do. Then for Tingyun, she is one of the best support characters in the game. You know, I'm sure Rerun will be up there in a very similar tier as Tingyun, but I think Tingyun ends up working more universally than a lot of the supports like at that level in the game. So that is something very good as well. And then for March, she is, you know, a solid sustained character, but I do think she ends up being rather niche compared to a lot of the other sustained characters in the game. So all in all, the banner itself is pretty good. So with that now, we are going to move on to Blade's kit. And I don't have Blade on my account, so I'm just going to use the data bank to show you his kit and everything. So look at Blade here. I'm actually going to start out with his skill, because we actually will have a bit more to talk about with his basic attack. But for Blade's skill, when he uses it, he will consume 30% of his max HP to enter his hellscape state, and during this state, he can't use his skill, will increase his damage, and his basic attack will be enhanced for 3 turns, which is very nice for it to be your 3 turns, since it's not using this basic attack, as we'll see, it's not going to use skill points, which is really awesome, and it just makes him a lot better for skill points, so you could have more skill point intensive support characters and other characters on the team. So Blade does end up having that really good benefit for teams. So moving on now to his enhanced basic attack. I'm not even going to talk about the regular basic attack, because you're not going to be using this at all. You're either going to have his skill up already, or you're going to use his skill to get his enhanced basic attack. So whenever he uses the enhanced basic attack, he'll consume 10% of his max HP to deal wind damage to the main target as well as 2 adjacent targets, which is very nice for damage. And while this attack does not use skill points, it also does not regenerate them. So that is something to keep in mind with your other characters. So while he's not regenerating skill points, he isn't also taking them, so you will still have those skill points from other characters to use in other ways with other characters. Then now to go on to his ultimate. So his ultimate will set his HP to 50% of his max. And this is really cool, because if you're like really high in HP, then he's going to damage himself to increase the amount of damage he can do. And also, as we'll see, it also benefits his talent. But if you're really low on HP, then you're healing yourself. So no matter where your HP is, this benefits you in one way or another. And this ultimate will deal wind damage to a single enemy and then 2 adjacent enemies. And the damage of this ult is based on a sum of a percentage of his attack, a percentage of his max HP, and then a percentage of the count of the amount of HP he has lost in battle. And that count gets reset after the ultimate. So it really is important to keep in mind, you know, how, you want to have your Blade take as much damage as possible, obviously without him dying, of course, in battle. And even if he's healed, you know, during battle, that doesn't make the count go down. So, you know, keeping him alive with a sustained character is also going to be very beneficial for him. And the cap for that tally is going to be 90% of his max HP. So definitely very solid there for how much he's able to do and how many things are going to impact his ultimate damage. But HP and HP loss are going to be the 2 biggest factors of that. Then for Blade's talent, so whenever Blaine loses HP, whether it's through taking damage, or if he sacrifices his own HP, or if someone else on the team sacrifices HP of allies, which we'll get to once I talk about his current game state, he will gain a stack of charge. And once he gets up to 5 stacks of charge, he'll do a follow-up attack that will deal damage based on a percentage of his attack plus a percentage of his HP, and will also heal him for 25% of his max HP. This is another way that Blade keeps himself alive. He is able to heal once every 5 times he takes damage. And even if the enemy doesn't hit you, Blade, he'll take damage 1 time for activating his skill, and then 3 more times for the enhanced basic attacks under that skill. And plus, with him being destruction, he's going to be hit more often than a good amount of the characters in the game. So that's going to be extremely good for him to be able to get this follow-up attack very consistently, and another way he can just keep himself alive, which is very good because he is sacrificing his HP with pretty much every attack that he does. So now, to go on to his technique here. So his technique is one of the ones that immediately will start battle, and when the battle starts with this technique, he'll consume 20% of his max HP, and he'll deal wind damage to all enemies, which is very good as well, very good start. Plus, with him sacrificing his HP, he'll start the battle with 1 charge out of 5 for his talent. So very solid overall for his main kit here. So then to go into the traces. So his first major trace, when his HP is at 50% of his max HP or lower, he'll get extra incoming healing, which is very nice to keep him alive with all the HP he's sacrificing. So yeah, the more HP you can have him heal for, the better, and especially since it doesn't impact the count from his ultimate. Then next up, we have Never-Ending Deaths. So whenever he hits a weakness broken enemy after using Force of Swords, which is the enhanced basic attack, then he'll restore some extra HP based off of his max HP, which is also really nice just because you have more HP restoration is just going to mean he can stay alive for even longer and be more self-sustaining. And then for his final major trace, this just increases the damage dealt by his follow-up attack by 20%, which is going to be really good because you are going to see that follow-up attack hit pretty consistently. I feel like no matter what team you have him on, but especially on teams where he's either just going to take a lot of damage because he's destruction, or on teams that will have other ways of decreasing his health or making it more likely for him to be attacked. So now that brings us to the question, is Blade still worth it for people to pull for? Now, he is definitely outclassed now by some of the higher end DPS characters. It's not very many, but he definitely is outclassed by Jingliu and Imbiber Lune in all situations. And then in 5 opponent AoE situations, he is outclassed by Argenti. But I would say, if you're fighting the typical 3 to 5 enemies, I do still think he is a very solid option, especially if you don't have one of those amazing DPSs. And then remember as well, you do need to have 2 teams for the end game. So I think Blade is still going to be extremely valuable for players. Plus, if you have Jingliu and Blade actually work extremely well together, because whenever Jingliu uses her enhanced skill, she will sacrifice HP from her allies. And if Blade is her ally and his HP gets sacrificed, that's going to add a charge to his talent. So Blade will be getting his follow-up attack even faster with having Jingliu there, because not only is he sacrificing his own HP, Jingliu will sacrifice his HP as well with her enhanced skill. So they do have some synergy together there, but even if you're not using Jingliu with him, I do still think he is very solid, and he could definitely clear all the content in the game, because you don't need to have the 2 best DPSs in the game to clear everything. So overall, I do think that if you are looking for another DPS option to beef up your account, I definitely do think that Blade will be a great pick for you. And also just being a very solid win character as well, that's going to be really good for players. But I do think as well, if you're looking more for a supporting kind of character, I would probably recommend summoning for Rerun Mei instead, because even if you don't pull her, you do still have Tingyun on the banner, which is going to be insanely good. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you plan to pull on Blade's Rerun. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed and you haven't already, definitely be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. But with that, I will see you all next time.